On April 21st, 1992, employees of TGI Fridays were busy serving customers. It was a popular restaurant on the northwest side of Milwaukee. But around 10 p.m., a loud commotion outside in the parking lot caused everyone to stop in their tracks. A woman was screaming, "Help me, help me." An assistant manager rushed outside to find Jesse Anderson and his wife Barbara brutally stabbed. Hi, I'm Denise from Fascinating Cases, and today we'll discuss a case that I'm not sure has gotten all that much attention, especially nationwide, but it was very big news in the city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's a case that is remembered mostly as one that divided a city. It's a case of Jesse and Barbara Anderson. And Jesse Anderson is perhaps maybe just a footnote to the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer and his case, which gripped the nation with fascination and disbelief. I'll talk about that footnote in a minute. But first, Jesse Anderson. He was born in 1957 in Alton, Illinois, and he didn't leave much of an impression, the kind of kid that teachers really just couldn't remember. He came from a regular middle-class family. If anything, he was known to have a short temper. He once beat up his stepfather so bad that he had to go to the hospital. Jesse also bragged about doing burglaries and getting away with them. He eventually got a degree in business administration while in Chicago, and he married a woman named Debbie. He lied to her, tried to control her, and commented on her weight all the time, and then divorced her. Then he met Barbara Lynch in 1983, and they married quickly. Barbara was known as a private person, but she saw something in Jesse that she liked at first. They moved to Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and had 3 children. Jesse had a successful sales job at Lakeside Oil Company in Milwaukee. Coworkers said Jesse was outgoing, and he seemed like a good family man. What Jesse really wanted to do was work for the FBI or the CIA. He applied, but he was rejected by both. And Jesse sounds like a real tool. Barbara wrote him a letter accusing him of beating her and consistently threatening to kick her out of the house. The two wanted to give their marriage a second chance and went to Jamaica for a second honeymoon. But Jesse encouraged Barbara to do dangerous things like climb up a waterfall in sandals, and he laughed when she couldn't do it. She said she'd never travel with him again. Jesse was also interested in politics. He ran for a position on the Milwaukee County Board, but he lost. Jesse was discontent and his marriage was suffering. Barbara wasn't very happy either. Jesse was a big fitness buff, and he was always fixated on how much Barbara weighed and how big she was. And she wasn't big at all. She was about 5'10", 160 pounds. Neither Barbara nor Jesse were looking forward to a date that they had planned for April 21st, 1992. The Andersons hired a babysitter, and they went to the theater in the Northridge Mall. They were going to see the 7 o'clock showing of City of Joy, and I didn't remember that one, so I had to look it up. Here's a good place for a bit about Northridge Mall. It was, a beautiful, sprawling mall that's set along Brown Deer Road and 76th Street on Milwaukee's north side. It opened in 1972, and the mall was beautiful, and it was thriving. It had anchor stores like Gimbel's, JCPenney's, and Sears. It attracted customers from all over the Milwaukee metropolitan area, and nice apartments complexes were springing up around the mall. But this is what became of Northridge Mall, and it closed in 2003 and sat empty and rotting for over 2 decades before finally being torn down in 2025. What killed Northridge Mall? One thing was an intended northbound beltline around the city was canceled, and people found other more convenient places to shop. Northridge was now out of the way. And there was a perception of crime that was running rampant around Northridge, and this was overblown. The numbers did not reflect that, but the mall's image changed and foot traffic diminished. Stores didn't renew their leases, and by 1995, half of the stores were empty. Jesse Anderson helped kill Northridge Mall. Back to the night of the stabbings. After the movie, Barbara and Jesse got in the car and crossed the parking lot to head into the TGI Fridays parking lot. They were going to grab a couple appetizers and were inside without incident for about 40 minutes before leaving. Then around 10:15 p.m., screams were piercing the night. Outside of the restaurant, in the parking lot, Jesse Anderson and his wife Barbara were on the ground outside of their car, brutally stabbed. Jesse had a fishing knife in his hand that he pulled out of his chest. Barbara was under the car, covered in blood. She had been stabbed numerous times in the face, more than 20 times. Jesse had some superficial wounds on his chest and a collapsed lung. Jesse told the responding police that they were attacked by two black men with a knife and they demanded money. But instead of taking anything, the men just stabbed Jesse and his wife Barbara viciously. Then they took off. Jesse said he was able to grab the hat off one of the attackers. It had the LA Clippers logo on it. He put the assailants at about 6 feet tall with thin builds. Jesse gave the hat and the knife to police. Barbara and Jesse were taken to the hospital, and Barbara was put on life support. The search for the assailants began. They questioned people in the area of Northridge. Does anyone have or wear an LA Clippers hat? Do you know anyone? But the police had to tread lightly here. They had just dealt with the Jeffrey Dahmer case the year before, where a 14-year-old boy, Conorock Synthesome, was escaping from Dahmer's apartment. 3 concerned women on the street called 911, but essentially they were ignored. Officers allowed Dahmer to take the boy back to his apartment, despite the fact that he was naked, bleeding, and clearly drugged. They didn't investigate at all. Dahmer said the boy was his 19-year-old boyfriend, and Conorock was killed shortly after this. That incident damaged the Milwaukee Police Department's reputation, so they were more cautious with Jesse Anderson. Despite rumors of a high crime rate, things were pretty tame at Northridge Mall, and the officers were more suspicious of Jesse's story. Still, they checked out numerous black men around the area. Media reported heavily on the changing demographics of the mall and the dangers of Northridge Mall and the surrounding area. Meanwhile, Barbara Anderson was taken off life support at Jesse's request. He collected her $250,000 life insurance policy right away. But then Tommy Miles came forward, and he was an 18-year-old Stuart who said he met Jesse Anderson in the mall the day of the killing. Jesse gave him $20 for his LA Clippers hat. The hat, after being in Jesse's possession, had hairs in it that matched Jesse's dog. Now, how would the hair from Jesse's dog get into the hat if it belonged to the attacker? Also, Jesse was arrested when other evidence started coming forward. An employee from a local military surplus store said she sold that unique fishing knife to a man who looked just like Jesse Anderson, and she remembered it because of how unique that knife was. There was also blood on the back seat passenger side of Jesse's car. He supposedly had opened the door and reached for the LA Clippers hat that was on the floor to throw it out of his car. He said he wasn't able to make it into the car because of how weak he was. Jesse was allowed in handcuffs to go to Barbara's funeral. Police were hoping that he would break down or have a confession, but he was jovial in the car. He was somber, though, when he saw Barbara in the casket, and he became ill. Jesse Anderson's trial began on August 3rd in 1992, and it was pretty cut and dry. He was found guilty August 13th of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison, but he maintained his innocence, saying he'll never stop looking for the real killers. He was sent to Columbia Correctional Institute in Portage, Wisconsin. And that footnote that I mentioned earlier, Jesse Anderson, may be known just simply as the guy who was cleaning a prison bathroom one day in November of 1994. He was with Christopher Scarver, a fellow inmate, and serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. The 3 were unsupervised for about 20 minutes cleaning that bathroom when Scarver took a metal bar and beat Anderson and Dahmer to death.
Again, to recap for you, serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was murdered this morning at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage. Convicted wife killer Jesse Anderson also seriously injured. He has been transported to University Hospital in Madison now. Prison officials say the 2 were attacked, apparently by the same inmate, in different areas of a recreational area of the prison.
So Anderson might just be remembered as that guy that was killed with Dahmer that one day. Despite the fact that it was all a lie, Northridge Mall never recovered. People stopped coming and stores started closing. The Jesse Anderson lie was the final straw for a fading mall. It was a beautiful gathering place for a long time, but it was abandoned and vandalized repeatedly. Jesse Anderson knew what he wanted to do. He wanted to kill his wife, and he thought he would get away with it easier by going to Northridge and blaming a black man. He was wrong, and he was caught. This case is very similar to the Charles Stuart case. He was the man who killed his wife a couple years earlier in Boston, and he blamed a black man. I have a video of the Charles Stuart case that I just dropped recently for you to check out. So what are my thoughts? Jesse was in a fit of rage, and he stabbed his wife 20 times in the face and head. She had to look at him while he was doing it. Again, it's too bad someone didn't whisper in her ear before she got to the altar, "You're marrying a monster." Don't do it. This case tore Milwaukee apart for a while, and the media took a lot of blame for running with the narrative. Maybe it's good that people only remember Jesse Anderson as the guy that was killed with Dahmer. It was Barbara that was the tragic victim here, and maybe a little bit too, Northridge Mall. What do you think about this case? Do you remember it? What are your thoughts? Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll get back to you. And I want to thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you again very soon. Thanks. Bye.